Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about caloric need for muscle growth or muscular hypertrophy. And yes, just caloric need. Obviously, there are other variables such as the state of the endocrine system as far as the production of specific hormones, as well as the triggering mechanism of, for instance, resistance training. So those are other variables, obviously, that are going to impact whether or not you have muscular hypertrophy or the growth of muscle tissue. But there's also this other question that I'm often asked by students, which is how many calories do I need to eat a day to make my muscles grow? Well, again, as long as, and let's just say it this way, as long as everything else is equal, there's really two things that I need to be concerned with when it comes to caloric intake from muscle growth specifically. So again, everything else is equal. In other words, the endocrine system is roughly the same. Insulin sensitivity, IGF-1 secretion, testosterone secretion, levels of testosterone-free, serum, aromatization rates, all of those other variables are roughly the same. So if I'm looking at two people where all of that is the same, they train the same, doing the same type of programming, repetition sets, yada, yada. As long as those are the same, really the only other variable that I look at is the total amount of body fat that the individual has on them. And I'm talking about, age is the same, male, male, female, female. But really the one factor that I have found over the years that's going to tell me calorically what I'm going to need to make modifications to, or perhaps not even change, is going to be the basically the body fat level of the particular individuals. Now, just keep this in mind. If you got a client that, for instance, is at 30% body fat, that is a lot of body fat that they're going to need to get rid of, so to speak. So compare an individual at 30%, even 25%, or even 20% body fat compared to somebody that's more fit, much leaner, and let's just use a number, 10% body fat. Obviously, from a purely physiological perspective, these two differences, a 10% body fat individual versus a 20 or 25% body fat individual, have a significantly different level of available calories for any type of physiological changes that they're trying to make to their body. So again, let me just reiterate what I said. When it comes to the caloric need for gaining lean body mass, one of the most important things that I've always looked at and I found to be the most significant is my starting body fat percentage. When I look at individuals, like two individuals, and I've got somebody that's like 10% body fat, this individual already has a caloric need that's going to be probably significantly higher than another individual, similar body weight, obviously, that has a higher body fat percentage. Remember, an individual that's at 10% body fat does not have a whole lot of subcutaneous fat available, right, for superfluous lean body mass gain. Now, with all those things being equal, as soon as I look at somebody that is lean or on a spectrum leaner than another individual, what I know and what I've always done is I look at that individual as actually needing additional calories on a daily basis. So first things first, number one, most important thing you can do with any individual, by the way, no matter what their goal is determine what their predicted BMR and activity level caloric need is going to be. I hope that makes sense. BMR, basal metabolic rate, or resting metabolic rate, plus their activity level. That's going to give you what we call their predicted BMR activity level caloric need. Once I know that, I'm in a much better situation now to determine, do I give this individual more calories? Do I give them more protein, more carbohydrates, whatever the case is? And I'm not even talking about the macros in this particular video. I'm just talking about calories, because when all is said and done, if I don't have enough calories for this individual, let's say he's 10% body fat or she's very low body fat, if I don't have the caloric intake coming in, it's going to be really hard for them to actually gain lean body mass. Okay. So Normally, and I will say it starts at about 12% body fat for a male, maybe 15 or a little bit higher for a female. But generally, as an individual gets to these lower body fat levels, 10%, 12%, the first thing I'm going to do is initially, I'm probably going to jump their predicted caloric need up by about 250. Again, it depends, 300 calories per day to satisfy the additional caloric need necessary for anabolic activity, right? So for muscular hypertrophy. So you get those numbers. You can add anything. I mean, even 100 calories a day would probably be helpful. But if I have an individual who's not gaining lean body mass and they are 12, 10, even 8% body fat, what I've got to consider is the fact that this individual simply does not have superfluous caloric reserves in their subcutaneous body fat stores to allow for this increased caloric need for anabolism. And remember, anabolism, i.e., the creation of larger molecules from smaller molecules, and in this case, we're obviously talking about proteins from amino acids. In order to do that, that requires an input of energy. Sideway walk over here with me 1 second. When you're losing body fat, that's going to be a loss of energy, right? So you don't need, technically, from a metabolic standpoint, when somebody's trying to lose body fat, to add calories to help them burn body fat, because that is a catabolic physiological activity, the catabolism of body fat stores. Okay, let's get back over here. Caloric need for lean body mass gain. So just understand, anabolism requires an intake or an increase in the overall energy need, because it is a energy driven type of physiological activity, right? Increasing lean body mass. And by the way, putting together in a puzzle amino acids into proteins, obviously my actin and myosin type proteins, requires a good amount of energy. Now, again, you're working out, you're getting enough sleep, makes sense. Your training is geared more towards anabolism. All those are in place. You got enough testosterone, insulin sensitivity. Just start knocking them off the chart here. Those things that are necessary. Now you have to have enough calories to support this increase in lean body mass. I hope that makes sense. So the leaner an individual is, generally the more calories above basal metabolic activity level caloric need I can give them, and that should satisfy. Again, I don't know exactly how much. I will generally start with a conservative additional 200, 250 calories, something like that. Now let's switch over to somebody that's at 20%, 25%. And as you get higher and higher in body fat levels, let's be honest, that individual is generally, now I'm saying generally, because I've had some individuals that are like 30, 35% body fat saying, all I want to do is gain lean body mass. And I go, yeah, we're going to need to kind of get rid of the body fat as well, because that's actually a more important physiological process, get rid of the body fat. However, individuals will more than likely, as they are exercising and losing body fat, actually gain some lean body mass. That's why when it comes to caloric modifications and changes, for the most part, the higher the body fat, the less you need to worry about adding additional calories into the individual's diet. No, what we have found over the years, time after time, especially at these higher body fat percentages, the surplus, right? The surplus caloric values that a person has underneath their skin. Listen to that again. The surplus caloric values, it's called body fat, folks. The more of that they have, that is their reserve, the easier it is to supply the necessary energy to create anabolism. This is one of the reasons why we tell individuals that come on as clients, look, for the most part, higher body fat percentages, you're going to do both. You're going to lose body fat and gain lean body mass pretty much at the same time. And I've heard folks say, well, you can't do both at the same time. Well, that's actually not true. In fact, it's more common than it is uncommon, provided you're doing the other necessary things, such as training and doing resistance training. Again, the higher the body fat level, the less you have to worry about making modifications to caloric intake. For the most part, people at 20, 25, 30% body fat, we already get them or try to move them to their predicted BMR so that we get their metabolic activity, right, increasing up to where it should be. Interestingly enough, when you do that, guess what happens to lean body mass, provided you're exercising? Well, anabolism starts to actually increase. So we'll see clients that will lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and this is over a month, maybe even 2 months, and they'll actually gain while they're losing body fat, because we'll take their body fat percentages and we'll see 2 pounds, 3 pounds of lean body mass gain. Now, yes, I know what some of you are saying. Well, is all of that muscle? And the answer is, well, probably not, because LBM, or lean body mass, includes not just muscle, but also bone and other connective tissue, things like that. But those two main areas of lean body mass that take up the most weight on the human body is going to be lean body mass related to skeletal tissue, lean body mass related to, believe it or not, bone density. All we care about, folks, when all is said and done, is people are losing body fat, their lean body mass is also going up, even if it's a pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. I've had clients, I remember one lady in particular in her mid-50s who was getting 6-month DEXA scans done to ensure her bone density was being maintained. Now, she had some issues with decreased bone density. And once she started training, taking her body fat measurements, she was actually losing a pound here, a pound there of body fat, but her lean body mass had significantly gone up. I think the first reading I made was a 3 pound. That's a lot of weight, folks, 3 pound increase, but guess where it came from? Basically her bone mass, because she had gotten a DEXA scan done again. And of course, the physician was excited. Your bone mass increased by whatever, it was 2.5 pounds, something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but you get the point. The lean body mass issue is going to obviously involve not just skeletal muscle, but bone tissue mass as well. And that's all good. So remember, low body fats, yeah, you got to up the caloric intake above and beyond what their basic caloric or BMR activity level caloric need is. I generally start at about 200 additional calories, sometimes 250 per day, depending on how low they are. Higher body fat percentages, I generally don't deal with caloric changes whatsoever, to be honest with you, especially when they're in the 25 and 30 body fat percentage range. Let it ride. Not only will they lose body fat, but it's almost a guarantee that they will also increase their lean body mass. If you understood what I went over, if this actually made sense to you, then please type the word understood in the comment box below. Take a look in the description box as well, because if you want to get on board with Body Design University with either our online course or our live course, 2 weeks in Atlanta, unforgettable experience, trust me, then please go ahead and click on that link in there. By the way, every Wednesday night, for those of you that are already BDU students, please, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, Central Mountain Pacific, you got to make allowances for those time zone differences. But every Wednesday night, 30 minutes, Quizlet Live, great way to study, help you to pass your BDU exam. As always, have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.